Hey, my name is Azlan and today's video is all about the solar inverter. Basically, solar inverters works to just convert the DC electricity come from the solar panels to convert into the AC power, which is the alternating current which supplies into our appliances into our household uses. So we will going to talk about that what are the best inverters in the market and how they manufactured and what are the components are being used in them. So basic components of the solar inverters we will discuss one by one, and specifically I would like to give you some insights from the solar market and from the solar industry that which not everybody going to tell you, and these are the hidden secrets of the manufacturers and all the dealers of the solar inverters. So let's get started. So PCB is the basic and the most important component of the each electronic device, and especially in inverter, it is being used for all the components are being planted on it, and all the electrical circuitry and all the transferring of the current and powers are being performed on the PCB, and it is the main roadmap of the inverter. It is like that all the activities of converting DC to AC, all the activities of being controlling the voltage, and all the activities of converting power into the amperes, and everything are being performed on PCB, and this is the basic and the most important component of the solar inverter. First of all, if you are a solar manufacturer, if you're looking to set up inverter manufacturing, or if you are looking forward to just importing any kind of solar inverter from China, then you must have understood first thing that the quality of PCB is most important thing. If you are neglecting this factor, then you are in hard trouble. So basically the PCBs are in a huge varieties, especially they comes into layers. And what are these layers and what are they made up of, we will talk into the later into the video. And I would like to discuss all the layers one by one with you, and basically what are the functions of each layer, we will going to discuss that as well. So first of all, I would like to tell you about the basic components are being used are the transistors. First of all, we would like to talk about the transistor, which is MOSFETs. Metal oxide semiconductor field transistor, which is being used for high frequency switching, and it basically works to just transfer DC to DC power and DC to AC power. DC to DC means that the battery power is also being managed to convert into the pure DC for into the DC form for the battery charger, and that is we call the DC to DC power. You may be aware of the fact that the DC to AC, but you are not might be aware of the DC to DC. That's why I gave you the explanation about that as well. So let's get move on to the other transistor, which is more powerful and more stronger than the MOSFETs, which is the insulated gated bipolar transistor, which is the IGBT. IGBT basically works on low frequency but higher voltage and higher capacity of current. It has much higher capacity than the MOSFETs, or to handle the much higher capacities of power. It can handle the high frequency, not more than the MOSFETs, but it can handle the high frequencies as well. And but its major work is to handle the high voltage and high ampere game. This is what it is all about, and it works to convert the DC current into AC form and also into the its purest form, which is the sine wave. You all know that there are two forms of current, which is the pulse width modulation and the sine wave. So inverter works to convert the DC form into AC and also into its proper form, which are usable for appliances are being installed into our houses, so that it would work properly and we would not gonna have any kind of mismanagement of the current and mismanagement of the frequency into our houses. The other components are being used is microcontroller DSP, and these are the brain of the inverter, and they control, monitor, and process all the information of current, all the current activities performed in that. All the switching of the DC to AC are controlled and monitored by the microcontroller DSP, which is digital signal provider. And you need to install high quality of DSP and microcontroller into your inverter, so that all the activities are being performed smoothly, and all the first functions and all the problems are being detected wisely once before getting anything out of your hands. So it's really important to install this component as well of high quality. And I would mention all the companies which are good in making this component, and I will mention all the components details, which companies are good, which companies are best in that. And then you can easily find out the quality of all the components easily. So let's move to the other components which are being used in our solar inverters, and which is the MPPT. If I like to tell you the with the example, the MPPT functions as it works to just provide you the best possible output from the solar panels. So if your solar panels are being installed, so it works to just provide you the best possible outcome. If your requirement is that much of amount of voltage, then it would like to give you as much as it can be. So it works to just track all the currents and voltage and provides you in a best possible way. So it works to provide you without making any losses and without making any kind of uh, losses in the solar power. So it will like to give you as it is at as you want for the your power requirement. And these are basically trying to convey as it is what you want for your appliances and for your usage. I have mentioned all the basic and important components, which are the IGBTs, which used to make bridge form, and which converts the current. These are the main components which are being used to convert DC power into AC power. So basically, the work of solar inverter is to just convert DC power into an AC power, which into its best possible form of current, which is the sine wave, the smoothest form. And every components are every each and every small components are track every activity and identify faults and try to smooth the form of current and try to just minimize any kind of losses. These are the works of the each component. So now talk about what I've mentioned earlier in the video about the layers of the PCB, which is really important to understand. And the point of making this video was actually about that, to make you aware of about the PCB's layers. Because everyone, if you install no matter how good components are being installed, but if the ground area of where they are being installed, which means that the PCB, if it is not good enough to handle all the activities, that means that your inverter will not going to survive for a longer period of time. So let's get understand that what all the layers are all about, and what inverter parts are being hold on each layer. So let's see on your screen that which are the layers and what are the parts of solar components are being installed on that. First of all, talk about the top layer, which is the components are being installed on the top layer, which is MOSFETs, IGBTs, capacitors, and controller. This layer is all about the copper, which we call the power layer of the inverter, the top layer of the inverter. And it carries the high power. And if we talk about the second or third layer of the inverter, which is the signal layer transfers the control and transfer the control and signals from the microcontroller. If we come to the fourth layer of the solar PCB, inverter PCB, which is the ground layer. Fourth layer, sometimes sometimes fourth layer are the last layer of the inverters, which are made up of four layer PCB. But we are talking about right now the sixth layer of the inverter, so we will mention all the six layer of the PCB. So let's see that what is fourth layer is called. Fourth layer is called the ground layer, which is the stable ground interference reference. And it provides the all kinds of basic current activities. So move to the fifth layer of the solar inverter, which is the control layer. It handles safety circuits, feedback, and monitoring. And the last layer is the bottom layer, which is for the additional power and pathway safety measures. And this is the these are the works of all six layers. And what are they made up of? The main question is that all layers are not made up of single components. These are all made up of the different kind of materials. These are made up of let's suppose if you are working on a high capacity, high transferring, high switching, then this area will be heated up easily. So we installed their copper layer, which is the around 2 O's of copper. But the point of this video was to make you aware about the most important components of the solar inverter, which is the PCB. This is the point which many of the importers and the people who are sourcing the inverters are neglecting it. I've been in this business since for 6 years, and but I have seen a lot of people who are sourcing the inverter, who are actual in this business and importing the inverter from China. But when I ask this question to them, they are not aware of it, and they ask me that what about the concepts of layer in the inverters. So this is really important point. If you are switching from a different business to the solar business, then you must understand this concept of the PCB, how they made up of, and how it works, why the multiple layers are required. Because if you are making the inverter like our people in our country is making the desi inverters, which are basically a single layer or maybe of two layers of inverter, which are basically FR4 soldering and just glass on it, and they are just performing all the circuitry activity on it, all the high switching activity to DC to AC transfer, which generates high heat, which means that their inverters are bound to be exhausted too soon, so that they are risking their lives and their solar system. So I've been in this business since 2020, and I've observed a lot of things, and I saw many people who are importing solars, who are sourcing them from China, and but they don't know about this concept, and they don't know that how to check the quality of the inverter. They just go for the reputation of the company. They just saw that the company has a big reputation, big name in China, so they will not going to provide them any kind of a low quality inverter. But that's not the case. This company is just only operating into their own country. They are not responsible for the activity is are being performed into your country. They are just giving you the inverter according to their budgets and according to the budget you have given to them, and that's how they are reducing the quality. They don't know about that what kind of a warranty you are giving. They don't give you the amount of warranty which you gives to the customer over there. This is the main reason, because they know about what they have installed and what will be the life of the inverter and what will be the life of each of the components. So this is the basic point you need to understand first, that if you are installing if you are sourcing any kind of inverter, first you need to check it out. It must be of 4 to 6 layers of 4 to 6 layers of the PCB must be there. There must be a copper layers, there must be MCPCB layers, there must be the FR4 layers as well, so that your inverter would be water repellent, moisture repellent, and as well as heat repellent. This is the basic point and most important point you need to consider first. And other thing which is also important, the cooling system which is being built in the inverter, that must be the aluminum heat sinks must be installed in the inverter, so that your inverter would be long lasting. Not only the fans would be your here cooling source, there must be an aluminum heat sink must be there, so that your inverter cooling system would be great and it would long last for the 15 to 20 years as well. So right now the quality of inverters are coming into Pakistan is good, but they are not good enough for the future. The warranties the companies are giving 10 to 15 years. This is not good sign for the from the companies. They are giving so much of warranties. It needs to be calculated. It needs to be quality based warranties. It must be the research based sourcing and research based working. And if you are sourcing and if you want to know that how to source the inverter and how to find out the quality of the inverter and which are the parts are being present in the inverter, how to identify that, then there is a Gerber file. This is we call a Gerber file and a schematic file. These are the two files which consist all the components are being installed in the company, in the inverter. You need to ask from the manufacturer about these two files. If manufacturer gives you these two files before sourcing, you need to check all the pages, all the files. You need to go through them, and you need to go through all the components are being installed into the inverter, so that you will be aware of what are you sourcing, what are you importing from China or any other country, or from Europe or from Japan. So you need to go through the Gerber file and schematic file. These file consist of all the data, all the information related to the solar inverter, which from head to toe, everything is being mentioned in those files. So you need to ask those files from the manufacturer first, and then you have to make any decision about sourcing. The other thing, there are also other files as well, to you can ask for. These files are related to the inverters certifications and inverter protections. There are many other files as well, but you need to go through these two files if you are seriously wanting to know that what are the components are being installed, how many layers of the PCB, and what are the things are being installed in the inverter. So I hope this information were quite helpful for you. If you are thinking of starting a solar business, this information is really crucial.